Hey guys, Matthew here, and today we're going to look at the soundtrack to Tales of Zale, Episode 2, and I have a very special guest. Her name is Sif, better known as Hikarian from Hikarian Animations, someone I've been working with for a very long time. Say hello, Sif.
Good day! I said hello before I was allowed to.
Okay.
Well, double hello.
So, you will have the honor of talking about Tales of Zale and kind of what it is, just to get everyone familiar with what this animation is.
So, Tales of Zale is an animated web series that I've been working on for quite a while. Well, the pilot episode was released back in 2011, but it was kind of rebooted here last year with the release of episode 1. It is basically about a world in which humans are long gone and the animals are exploring the world around them. It follows the main character, Zale, and his best friend, Elva, as they explore ruins and remains and, see what the world has to hold, basically.
Hello? Have you, by any chance, seen a white rabbit run by here?
So right off the bat, I can tell you that in the beginning, right here, it comes off right at the end of Tales of Zale Episode 1. Sorry, spoilers. Me and Sif are assuming you guys have already seen the first episode and the second one, hopefully. So I guess we have to say you should probably watch it first before we start talking about this stuff.
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna be a weird way to be introduced to it, but sure, go with whatever you feel like.
So at the end here...
My, oh my. What do we have here?
So there's that musical idea which goes right into it in the second episode, right at the beginning. That was the first episode. That's how that ended. And the musical idea here at the end and the beginning of episode 2 is very similar compositionally, but it's kind of a different tone. It starts off way more mysterious. There's kind of a darker tone to it a little bit.
Hello?
And some of the musical ideas there, something like that. Sort of like a descending minor thing. That was kind of the theme for this mysterious cat that you had no idea about. And let's just go ahead and skip to over here. Let's see what else we have.
Oh, well...
Just some generic, hits and stuff to accentuate what's on the screen and getting out of the way of what else is going on. There's like a sound effect, right, Sif? There's a...
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see it in the video here, but there's like a shadow, something creeping along. So I kind of have to get out of the way of that.
Oh, well, I guess we better be going then. We wouldn't want to, hold you...
And then there's that sort of... You can hear, this sort of thing again. Like descending minor thirds and all that. That's kind of the theme of the mystery and like kind of horror, not horror, but like it's not a horror
into
film.
A horror movie, just you wait.
Yeah, it's kind of a like they're not happy and excited to be here. They're kind of scared and they have no idea what's going on. So that's kind of the theme for that you hear throughout.
But what are you? I've never seen your kind in the forest before. Zale!
This is kind of that same thing too. Whenever you see Elva and Zale on the screen, I like to always accentuate that with, just something that represents their character. There's just so much you can do in this, what is it? How long is it, Sif? Like not 8 minutes.
No, it's 6 minutes.
6 minutes. 6 minutes film.
Both episodes are 6 minutes, and then there's the credits, of course.
Yeah, so something that's smaller and condensed like this, if we had a 2-hour-long movie, we would have more time to show off music. Like maybe there would be several moments in a 2-hour film where the main characters get their moments and music needs to represent them they'll have one or two big moments like that. Like, for example, Indiana Jones, you hear his theme all the time whenever he does something heroic. But it's not every single time you see him on the screen. So, when something condensed like this, it's really important to make sure that, that you're doing that with the music where it's important.
Morpheus.
This is really interesting right here. This is like one of my favorite new things is, so now he said his name, right? His name was, what was it? Morpheus, right?
Morpheus.
Yeah. So now he's not a mysterious cat anymore. And right after he says his name, I kind of introduce this theme of him. So let me see if I can play this for you on my piano. Yeah, something like... So that's kind of what I made up for him. So right after he says his name, it kind of shows that.
My name is Morpheus, and I am what you'd call a Felis Catus.
Right there. So he says his name, he's talking it represents his character. He's like center on the screen, and you're listening to him, and you hear that. So now right away you will have to associate that sort of sound with his character. And then this is like the funniest thing I've ever done in a film score before, right?
My name is Morpheus, and I am what you'd call a Felis Catus. A cat.
Like, I thought it was a funny moment. It's just kind of like it breaks the whole seriousness. So I'll play it without the music.
Felis Catus. A cat.
Like, that's pretty funny to me, and I was like, maybe what can I do here? Usually I left it alone and didn't do anything, but I found this awesome prepared piano thing. So prepared piano is basically like a piano that is being used to record in non-conventional ways. So they'll rip apart the piano, they'll do crazy stuff to it, they'll put bow hairs inside the strings, and yeah, it's crazy. It becomes so what that is someone twanging and pulling on the string really hard and basically making this weird like banjo guitar kind of sound.
Felis Catus. A cat.
I love that.
Yeah, I was actually worried that you weren't gonna like it.
Never heard of those before.
I was like really happy. The first thing I asked you was like, "Hey, there's this hilarious thing. Please, like, tell me it's amazing. It's hilarious."
It is amazing. It is really is.
We mostly stay in the woods.
And this is a building up moment here.
We mostly stay in the woods.
And that goes in the second score. But there we have this running sort of thing. I'm going to mute the movie really quick, if that's even possible. Is it possible? There we go. So right there we have this moment in the strings. So what this is, it's actually taking the idea from that theme that I mentioned with the descending minor thirds. So now instead of just descending, they're going up and down and kind of swirling around, just kind of what it looks like in the video. So the cats are running and surrounding them. So the theme is kind of twisted, and the music is also doing the same effect musically, which is really interesting, and it makes for a great complement to this scene. And we have other instruments there and all that sort of stuff. And it's all gradually getting louder and all of that sort of stuff. So that does it for the first score, and now we can move on to the second one. Okay, moving on to the second score, and it's way different. I'll just play it, and you can already tell from the colors it's gonna be much brighter. So let's just go ahead and play this.
Now don't go running off, Season.
Mom!
Elva hasn't been home yet, has she?
I haven't seen her.
Where are those two?
So, Sif, what can you tell me about this music score versus maybe the first episode.
Yeah, it's quite the scene change suddenly. Against the first music score, this is kind of a callback to the music we had going on in the beginning intro sequence of the first episode. But there were some things that were changed there because we needed sort of for it to line properly up with the scenes that surround it that are pretty dark. So what was it that you changed there?
Okay, so let me show what's similar first. So in this score, everything is really bright, and you're showing off a lot of nature and some of the wildlife and other people that live there. You're really getting the setting down right. That's what we're trying to do in the first episode. Yeah. Introduce the characters, introduce the setting, show a lot of the world around it. We have established that in the first episode. But in the second episode, since that's already there, the setting, the world, we can now focus on the characters.
Yeah, that's true.
So the themes are similar. It's kind of a curious, playful sort of sound, right? So it's something like this. Something like that. Some of the challenges you would run into are, people talking, or elves and foxes talking, right? In this case.
Yeah.
So it's writing the music around the dialogue. There's not too much dialogue here, so don't really have to worry about that. So let's talk about the beginning. So it's kind of a throwback, right, to the first. Starts off with the sticks, the percussion. It's not exactly the same. It's a little bit different. It's a lot more brighter. It's a little bit faster, too. So it's a little more agile, I guess. I kind of wanted to bring the character out of this new character, Sesame, right?
Yes,
who Sesame. I thought his name was Cecil, which is really funny.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Huh? Now don't go running off, Sesame.
And here with the clarinet, I mean, it's similar to what you'll hear here. So there's a clarinet theme, and it kind of comes from Elva flying around.
Well, Eleanor.
Eleanor is the mom.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's why you're here.
Yeah.
So
to make all the corrections.
Don't go running off,
there's the clarinet, and kind of like the more, I don't want to say serious, but the music is a little bit more, I guess, mature, right?
Yeah.
Just to represent her character.
A little hint of worrisome sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
At least. Yeah.
So one trick I like to do musically is to have, if we have the same thing over and over again on the piano, so maybe I'll have the first time it's going to do it in the harp, and then the second time it's going to go back, and then maybe the piano will take care of it. I like to split it around between different instruments. Something like that. It makes it a little bit more interesting, right?
Yeah. I think that's definitely something that I really like your approach as well, because otherwise the viewer would be kind of, it would be kind of a lullaby just to get the viewer into a trance with this music, where it's just too repetitive. So it helps keeping people alive and fresh, keep things fresh.
Yeah, exactly. So it's also important because, again, it's a shorter animation, so everything kind of has to be right then and now. You need to condense, like if you have a movie, like I said, like an hour and 30 minutes, your score is going to sound like it's part of an hour 30-minute score. So what happens when you condense everything? Everything has to be there. So it makes it a little bit more difficult musically, but it also makes it sound like more of a full, piece of music that you could listen to at a concert hall or classical orchestra concert or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Elva hasn't been home yet.
And right away, she's feeling worrisome, right, about her missing kids.
Elva hasn't been home yet, has she?
And this theme actually, I know it's 2 notes, but it's very, very, it's easily recognizable, is what I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Of whenever anyone has any moment of doubt or worrisome, you kind of hear that motif. And Elva and her mom, Eleanor, they kind of have the same personality. They're not exactly the same, but, you know, the daughter takes after the mother, that sort of thing. So you're going to hear that whenever Elva is worrisome, too.
Hasn't been home yet, has she?
I haven't seen her.
So it does it again, because I guess he's worried, right? A little bit, but then not really.
No,
So I
no,
kind of
he
have,
doesn't really want to take after his mom.
what I like to do with the bells is kind of represent kind of like childlike innocence or youth-like innocence. So it's the same music, but with different instruments, and it definitely has a different character, even though the music is the same. So the change in instrumentation really does a lot.
I haven't seen her.
Where are those two?
So that music there at the end, it signifies the ending of this scene, this piece, and it kind of has a open-ended sort of sound, but it also has a resolving kind of sound. It's really hard to achieve something like that musically. It's kind of hard to find a balance. But it also has a little bit more of a light theme. Like, it's not like, oh my gosh, they're in deep danger and they're going to be eaten like the next scene. It's basically also showing off that she has no idea what the heck is going on, right?
Yeah, it's still a bit of an innocent worry,
Yeah.
so to speak.
So we're starting at the end of the previous scene where it was all happy and stuff. And Sif, can you kind of talk about where this might be going?
Where the next scene might be going?
Yeah, I'll let it play in the background.
Yes. Well, now Zale and Elva are completely surrounded, and things are not looking too good. Like, the situation seems pretty tense. So we need something to reflect that.
But why?
Yeah. So, also, I mean, I have no idea. I'm not a visual arts person, but you can tell right away by the color choice, right? The color palette is definitely something different.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah,
obviously,
we've gotten...
obviously Zale and Elva are like, they stick out like a sore thumb right here, you know? They're like, they're from the bright, colorful forest, and all the cats are like, no, we live in darkness.
Yeah, we have a very saturated blue here, and it just becomes more and more saturated as things become more and more intense.
Yeah. Okay, let's see what we have here. And you said we need to... So we're going to keep up the mystery aspect and kind of the tense situation. So let's see what I have going on here.
What is this place? Why are you doing this?
Oh, so many questions.
So this part is like the one we heard at the end when they're with the mysterious cat, like he's a dark figure, but this time it's different because instead of it sounding like, oh, it's dark and scary and mysterious, now there's actually a hint of danger, right?
Yes.
And it's not and it's not like super obvious, but in the music, that's what I'm trying to get you to feel, that they're not only scared, it's not only mysterious, but it's potentially dangerous. We have no idea if these cats are just going to eat them right here, right now, and just go to town on these poor little creatures. So let me see if I can play what I have here, just to show everyone. There are the notes. Okay, so we got a low note here. It's not cooperating with me right now. Okay, so before we had something like this. That's not the right key. Sorry, here we go. That's a little bit different than, you know, something more mysterious. That's kind of mysterious. You don't really sense any danger here. But in this one, there's definitely a sense of danger, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's just keep trucking along here.
Oh, so many questions. But why? That's all. It's such a treat whenever outsiders stumble.
And there's just your basic hits that I have here. Is there anything you wanted to talk about this particular scene?
Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I love your note-taking up there with just the smileys and everything else.
Oh yeah, and my typos, right?
Yes.
So something that I've talked about in previous videos is the first thing I usually do is when film scoring is marking all the places you want to hit. I mean, first you have to find a tempo that works, and tempos can change, but I need to mark the points on top here where I'm going to write music to. So it's pretty much like I'm telling myself at this point in time I need to make a musical gesture here, and this is where there's a change of emotion, that sort of stuff, and it's kind of like just a coloring book basically. Now we have all the outline, now I just need to fill in the music to connect the dots.
That's really nice. We have something similar in TV Paint, the animation software that I'm using. It's pretty much essential.
Yeah.
So this scene here, where we are actually having our first attack on Zale, it's looking pretty serious, and now things are getting very, very tense. Like their intentions are kind of revealed.
Yeah.
To a certain extent.
And I will start.
Good input.
So right here, there's actions going on the screen, and you can hear it in the sound effects from our sound designer.
It's such a treat.
And I make it a point to work with a work print. Work print is like the version that people working on the film get that isn't the final version. Well, not the final, what you see when we release the video, but it's like what everyone is working with. I like to have everything because the music needs to be tailored around everything else. It needs to be complementary, right? So, but I also want to make sure that when the music is by itself, it can show it in the music too alone, without sound effects. I mean, you see him rising up, getting closer, and then taking that hit. Boom, right there. So let's just keep with the sound.
We gotta find another way out.
I like the drums that are going on here. What is it? Is it drums?
Yeah, there's like taiko drums.
Yeah.
Let's see. I called this thing action maybe because it's like I wanted to make an action like sound something. Let me play something here. So that's too low. Can we go higher? Here we go.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of too intense. So I was like, maybe it's an action thing. Like, I know it's going to be too much.
Yeah. It's kind of an action prelude more like it.
So we have this. This is what's playing here. Are there drums, actually? Actually, no, there aren't drums. It's just a really low bass.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We're both learning something, aren't we?
And this is the new thing, right? Because I'm going to say, like, the eyes just remind me of aliens, right? So whenever that appears on screen for the first, this is like one of the first times you actually get to see them. And yeah, they kind of have like an alien eye shape. So this is kind of like weird sci-fi kind of, but not really. There's some sort of mystery and creepiness of them. That's not really like, a bloody serial killer from a horror film, right? It's a little bit different. So aliens are kind of different, out of this world. They seem kind of out of this world to them, especially. So
yeah.
That's what this is trying to show off. Cool.
Yeah, they are actually really alien to Zale and Elva. I mean, they've never seen a cat before, so it is basically aliens.
Yeah. So in this scene, she jumps up and gets caught, and I know this says Elva caught, LOL.
Great.
Just trying to
Good job, Elva. Good job.
And, everything just hits accordingly, just accurately. Things musically, maybe it's not perfectly in time, but music sounds coherent enough. And that's kind of the art of film scoring, which I talk about in my other videos where, everything, is synced up to the film, but still sounds like a coherent piece of music. That's where it's hard to make a good score. Because if it just sounds way out of place and whack, you're not really doing your job. So, I mean, this sounds like it's in the music just naturally. but it also is complementing the film. Complementing the film, exactly. Like right there, the music changes, and if you can see here, if I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, this comes on the upbeat of 4. So if I put on the metronome, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. Yeah, so it's out of place off beat, but you don't really notice it because I'm composing the music and designing it, so it's still a coherent piece of music that also complements the film and syncs up really well. And this here with the rising flute melody, it comes from this chase scene. And yeah, the chase scene, this isn't the main chase scene, spoiler alert. It's leading up to a bigger one, but it's kind of a, like Sif said, like a prelude to another one.
What's wrong, Ilva?
Right.
So here I have, let's find it. They're chasing the bunny. So it's like a rising flute right there at that scene change, or that camera angle change. I kind of have something like that here too. Because he does pretty much the same jump. It's kind of a little bit similar to the other scene. And then we have
I really
the
like how it, plays off here towards the end.
Yeah. The bells, again, are, it's a representation of, their youthful character and sort of the mystery. It has mysterious sounds sometimes. It can be, different. It can represent and sound like different things, but the way I design the music, the notes here, it shows off that it's kind of like a creepy, there's mystery, an aspect to it. And it kind of just calms down. And I think in your notes here, I have this here. So yeah, this is something we work with. She writes down time codes and where everything goes.
Yes, look at my beautiful notes and our swag-proofed status.
Just working really hard. And I'm just like, this is, we say stupid stuff because it's late at night. And I'm trying to think of a title for this. Stay for dinner. This is actually the official title of the score, this piece.
Yes, it should be.
Yeah, she takes notes after I'm done so we can fix it. Let me see here. What I'm looking for is, here, a bit of quiet before the storm. So that's what this is trying to represent. So it's calming down.
Now, it won't be that easy. Get them.
And this segues perfectly into the next score.
Well, here comes one of my favorite scenes, both in music and in animation and such.
Yeah, this one was, to be honest, like, I love doing the film scoring thing, but I know it's a lot of work, and I somehow feel like I'm dreading doing this scene, especially when, let me just mute everything. No music, right? I'm seeing that it's already at 3 minutes here in the film. And it seriously goes up until like 4 minutes. So this is 1 minute of action music. And in the world of, just writing music, intense music, 1 minute is a lot. So there's quite a bit of work that has to go into this. And again, with my notes at the top here, there are a lot. And I mean a lot of hit points, right? So the view change is there, right there. There's a zoom change. He looks back to cats, trips over the book, he stops, he makes an angry face or something. And this part, Sif, can you talk a little bit about why this scene is really important?
Yes, this particular part. Well, it's not something that should be revealed too much in episode 2. So I wouldn't say too much about it. But basically, we want to see some hesitation from the cats rather than just going for the kill and attacking. We kind of see that they put down their weapons, so to speak.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So he withdraws his claws. Zale is like, what the heck, man? So that's why I put that emoticon. And all this, like, Sif wrote to me in our notes that we were discussing.
Yeah, the music has to help reflect that.
And there's a ton of notes here, of course. Need the music to underline the gesture of the cat, the fact that it reacts its claws and might not be wishing to attack after all. And without the music, actually, it's not as obvious. But
no, it isn't. That's why I really needed the music to help along as well.
Hurry!
And he's making this face like, I'm confused, what the heck, but whatever. And now he's running again.
Running.
Unknowingly, Elva is standing there, being totally unaware of the cat 2 feet away from her, inches away from her, even though owls have such a heightened
yeah, you know, she might be half dead owl or something. Deaf, not dead. Maybe both. Who knows?
Yeah. Maybe she's not. I guess she's an outsider and she's not really used to these sort of things, right?
She hasn't been exposed to enough changes in her life. We gotta do something about that.
But she is swift enough to get out of the way of the cat who's jumping at her 100 miles per hour. Right?
Yeah, good reflexes.
So many moments to catch here, right? With the music, just the cat jumping. There's a cat creeping up.
Behind you!
You know, cat jumping, hitting the bookshelf, about to, hurt Morpheus.
Oh, not Morpheus, just a cat.
Oh, just a cat? My bad. Hurt a cat. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Morpheus actually has, like, non-alien eyes. I didn't put Morpheus.
Yeah.
Good call.
The one non-alien cat.
And it gets all quiet here. So enough of that. Let's just jump into it, right? Let's just do that. Let's just do that.
Get them.
Okay, so this is a big moment, right? Obviously, there's, chase music themes going on.
Be that easy. Get them.
I don't know what to say there. Okay. There's some obvious chase music things going on. You have the fast strings, going like dun 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 dun, something like that. And I was really struggling with this because this is what it sounded like before. Let's turn off the bassoon. And that sounds like, I don't know, Star Wars or something. I mean, it's not John Williams' Star Wars, but it doesn't really sound like the character of the show because it's just strings and drums. It's extremely generic. But then that's what I was struggling with this. And I came up with this melody on the piano. So it's action, it's danger, and it's kind of a little bit more of a lighthearted feel to the action, right? So that's the back. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's also going something behind with some sort of horn or flute or something.
Yeah, no, that's the bassoon.
Bassoon.
Yeah.
All the instruments.
Yeah. So put that together, you get this. You have the action feel, but you still have this light Tales of Zale kind of sound, right? Which is what we're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
So this right here is another huge moment, which is taking from this action scene, the one and only action scene in episode 1. So it's that flute bell sort of thing. So there it is again. Let me see. That's kind of the melody on top of the action, right? So it's kind of a light sort of sound, but I took that again and did that at this kit change right here. It's kind of similar, you see the light over here in this scene. It has a similar feel, so I took that same musical feel also. but it's varied a little bit. And an important thing here. Oh, okay, go ahead.
Oh, and then with the theme melody added, just hidden in there, it's really cool.
Yeah. So here in this theme here. So there's a key change. It's an abrupt key change, is what we call a direct modulation. So modulation is when you change keys, right? So if I'm playing something in this key, not that instrument. Let's try the piano. So it's a little bit more. So if I play that, but if I play this, it's obviously in a different key, right? That's from a different score. So we're having this sort of thing, and then it goes right here. There's a key change, and it abruptly changes to it instead of, leading into it. So in the first score, I have this really obvious and abrupt key change. Right there at the view change, and I have something like that here, but it's different. And now the camera pans behind Zale, and it reveals all the cats chasing him. Yeah, so I changed the key to a different one altogether. It went up, so the key is actually going from F minor to G minor, so something like that. So the music is moving up, moving forward, and they're moving forward, because they're running forward. Obviously, they're not running backwards, and it's moving the story forward a little bit more too. So the push of the scene, the push of the music is just helping the story progress faster and more intensely, and that's the motion that we're getting right now. And you definitely sense that right away. Like right away, I feel like, oh wow, things are moving along. The music has changed its key, and it's going. It's just trucking along. And I muted the music. I muted the sound effects here. Let me put that back. Yeah, so there's a lot of stuff to catch here. He trips over the book. He hits the ground. He slides. His tail comes up. There's like 50 things going on here. So, I mean...
You have to implement them all.
Yeah, I mean, in film scoring, less is more. The less you do, it can speak volumes. But in this case, there's a lot going on, so... And some stuff has to be taken out. But let's see what we have here when he... We have this flute, right? This flute's like ripping up. Yeah, where are you? There you are. So we have... He hits that. Flip, the flutes go up, and then the strings here go up and down. Let's see if I can isolate that. That's what's cool about looking at the program. You can isolate all this stuff. So actually, I'm going to keep the flute and this so you can hear how that works together. So that's what I have showing that off. It's pretty cool. And
as a visual person, it's really cool to be able to see just the way it goes up and down. It looks so simple here, but it's so complicated at the same time.
Yeah, and, I mean, it's also one thing that I understand, how to write music, but then it's how to write music. It's a whole different world when it comes to writing music, which is why I'm hoping this is interesting for people to see.
Yeah, you can really see all the stuff that's going on here. I mean, when you just isolate these two parts, it becomes easy to understand, but then there's all that other stuff going on at the same time. And, it just all works in cohesion as well. That's, rocket science.
There's a lot of stuff.
Yes.
So this is a part I struggled with a lot because this is a really, really delicate and important part in the film and in the music. And it's when... Here, I'll just go ahead and play it. Huh? Yeah, so there's that sense of like, huh? What is that? What's that going on? And that sound is a chord. Sorry, Sif, if you don't really understand these musical terms, but we have a minor chord. but with a major 7. It's kind of like a mystery question mark sort of thing. And you hear it a lot in like, you know, James Bond films and stuff like that because they're super spies, super secret, right? It's always mysterious and you have no idea what's going on. So that kind of chord sounds like a question or just, huh? What is going on? Right? You've heard that sound before. Yeah, so that's what I used here. And it's super obvious in the music, and that's what we wanted, so we did that. But what I did have trouble with was, do I keep this sort of beat going on? Like, how can I keep the beat? So let me turn off the instrument that's actually playing during that. Okay, here we go. So you have all this action and suddenly stops. It kind of is a mood killer.
Zale, hurry!
So I wanted to keep the tension going. I wanted to keep things moving, so I added this drum ride cymbal pattern here. It gives it a much different feeling. That things are still, you know, intense and the heart's still pounding in Zale, and, you know, Elva's probably dying of a heart attack back there. And there's tension rising in the strings. As if something is going to happen. Like, literally those strings are saying, oh my gosh, this thing is going to kill me, right? And then right when he pulls back, I have that
Zale, hurry!
And right here is actually Morpheus's little theme.
Zale, hurry!
It's kind of a question to, you know, Morpheus's character and the other cat's character. Are they connected? You know, it's not like an evil thing, but it's still his thing. So I wanted you to feel the theme of the cat here.
Zale, hurry!
And that theme in itself also has that same questioning, mysterious feel too.
Zale, hurry!
So we're back to running again, but it's not like this. It's not, okay, we got to go like 100 miles per hour. These cats are trucking along at like 200 miles per hour. They got nitrous gas. They're going like turbo speed. But now he's running. It's a different scene, so it's a little bit less intense. Same music generally in the piano, less drums. You know, I watered down the orchestration a bit. And then here's just another intense scene. And the danger is actually happening, and he's freaking out and panicking, so I got these really like obvious like dun 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 dun, right? Those sort of strings.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah.
And you've been linking so much to that.
I know. That's my favorite thing, where it's like it's like the most most like obnoxious dramatic thing. It's funny.
Yeah.
It's like my favorite thing.
Like it's just cutting things out in cardboard, basically.
Behind you! Huh?
So we have him creeping up here.
Behind you! Huh?
He jumps up, and there's actually a lot going on here too. You know, I show it off with the I'm gonna mute this. The strings doing their little runs again. Right here, let me isolate it. Woohoo, isolation. Cool, right? And then we also have this thing here that I made. I had to make this. I made this somewhere else, and I had to record it. And I don't have notes for this. Like, I didn't put notes. Like, this is something I recorded and I made later, so I can move it around, so I don't have to move within my grid. So that's what you hear. You hear this, like, rip with the horns and the flutes and stuff.
Oh my god, it's sounding like a really bad horror movie right now.
Yeah. I mean, with everything all together, it sounds fine.
Yeah.
And then here we have him leading up to hitting the bookshelf. Big crash in the music, and then we have this, you know, danger horn, and it swells down, swells back up, and then the bookshelf hits the ground.
And did you also have any trouble with making that fit to, you know, there's a pretty apparent sound effect for the bookshelf and such that fills up a good amount of space. So
Yeah.
So were you trying?
There's a lot of sound effects, and I have to make sure to stay out of the way. But I also need to show it without sound effects too, right?
Yeah.
So the only trouble I had was making sure that I didn't get too overbearing, but it had to be really intense. So I muted the sound here, so you're just hearing the music. So everything here is timed perfectly. The horns and the strings are getting louder and swelling when they should be. And there's a moment of, he hits the thing and he's like, okay, I'm fine. But then he's just now starting to realize, oh, it's like up here too. That's kind of what I was trying what I'm trying to show here. Yep. Kind of a resolution and everything. The dust clears and now there's no more music. Really tense moment. And this part speaks huge when there's nothing going on, right? You come from all this loud sound, intense music to nothing. And it speaks volumes. Just right here. It's just quiet. And then we go into
it was really important to get a moment of silence after all of that.
And then we go into this next score.
Come on, Zale!
It's just a moment of tension, just really intense. I mean, it's fairly simple stuff.
I think that'll be enough. Interesting.
And that theme that comes in there is kind of the theme that I used to represent kind of the good in characters, but it's hidden deep inside of them. I mean, people are probably speculating at this point, like maybe Morpheus isn't really a villain, and there's some good in him, or there's some better character to him that people don't see. And that theme, it's similar to the Tales of Zale theme, and it has the same kind of character, but that's what I used to underlay that sort of character. And it's right here again. And it's really subtle. Probably not noticeable unless you're looking for it.
Interesting.
But we know it's there.
Yes, exactly.
And we intentionally put those things there for...
Yeah, we were so close to removing them, but it really had to be there. It had to. And
now we're moving on to the scene after the chase scene, after everything is really intense, and now we're calming down and they're back at home. Sif, maybe you want to talk about a little bit about this scene here?
Yeah, now we're kind of calming a bit down. There's still some tension between Zale and Elva, but we're back in the familiar forest with all the neat colors, and the sun is setting, and the day has come to an end, so we kind of need to slow down a bit, and that's what we're doing.
Yeah, it's very nice. Also, wait, lighting effects from Adobe, right? Is that what this is?
From Adobe? Well, it's from After Effects.
Yeah, really cool.
Yes, I love those.
It looks really good. So, what do we have here in the beginning? We have a muted video. That's what we have in the beginning.
That's nice.
Zale, don't ever scare me like that again, okay? We could have been killed.
So, do you recognize that music, Sif?
Yeah, definitely. That was one of my favorite tracks from episode 1.
Yeah, let me play a little bit of that.
Elva. You've never been on this side before. I know I am. So we should explore, don't you think?
So I'm skipping a little bit here.
All right.
So that's that forest theme that's really to show the setting of their forest, their home, which is a lovely, colorful, beautiful place, as Sif has drawn for us.
Yes.
So this is the theme we have for the forest. So that's what we had in this scene here. And now we have that same exact theme. It's a little bit different because I like to think that after this whole sequence with the cats being, attacking them and chasing them, I guess at this point they've pretty much, like I was thinking, they have lost their innocence. They have left.
Oh my!
They have left the forest. And they went to a place where they're not supposed to, and they got their hands dirty a little bit. They were attacked and they seen some things and been in some dangerous situations, and it's a traumatic experience. So now, the setting is still the same, but their emotions and feelings behind everything, their lives have changed completely at this point, right? So that's what we're hearing in the music, still keeping that same theme.
Zale, don't ever scare me like that again, okay? We could have been killed.
Same exact music, but now it even sounds like they're kind of worrisome. It's kind of not sad, but it's a little bit less happy.
Yeah, the other one was kind of pulling them more towards adventure. This one is closing things a little more down.
Yeah, and it's amazing how, like I said before, instrumentation can change a lot. What I'm doing with the instruments and how I organize the chords, how I orchestrated everything. Same music, same chords, same melody, but different feeling entirely.
Scare me like that again, okay? We could have been killed. Don't you have anything to say?
I don't think those cats actually wanted to hurt us.
And this is where it's a variation, so it goes.
Say?
I don't think those cats.
So we're doing this. It's supposed to do this. That's what it's supposed to do after that, but there's a change in the melody right here, right after that.
I don't think those cats actually wanted to hurt us.
What? Have you gone mad?
Just a feeling is all.
Oh, well, it was your feelings that got us into this mess in the first place.
And then there's that theme that we used before when Eleanor was upset and worried, and Elva also had that same theme here in this scene too, I think.
So we should explore, don't you think?
It's kind of like a worried sound. I know it was kind of hard to hear, but that's what was there.
It was your feelings that got us into this mess
And that's showing
in the
off,
first place,
her being upset and mad at Zale that they just went through this traumatic experience together.
It was your feelings that got us into this mess in the first place, just...
And the music gets a little bit more, I guess, happy, right? Because she's just like, oh, you know what, fine. You know what, you're still my friend. And I don't care that I literally almost died of 5 heart attacks. It's all good, Zale.
Yes, that happens every day,
It's like, I can't help it. You're still my friend. I still love you as my friend. We're good.
Just try to be more careful, alright?
Right.
We'd better not...
And like her face, and Sif has done a great job of, showing emotion on their faces every single time. They're not just brain dead animals. Like there's a lot going on with her.
Like that.
There's a lot of her emotion on her face going on, and
We'd better not...
and it's paired with the music too, right? So that's what I'm showing. I'm showing it's not like, oh, finally we're safe, but it's like there's still a bit of a troubled feel.
We'd better not say anything about this to Mom or Dad.
And
They
then
would never let...
the screen goes up, and what does the harp do? It also goes up. So it's like do 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 do, going up
To
higher
Mom or Dad.
as the camera pans
They
up
would
to the
never
sky.
let me leave the hollow again.
And I was actually not so sure about this ending piano note, so it's kind of like showing the end. But I guess it is the end, and Sif went ahead and said we were going to use the one with the piano ending. Is that because... So my question for you, is that because you feel like it is the end? I thought it was at the end of Zale and Elva in episode 2.
I think it's nice to close that one off there, so we can kind of have the scene change, where we also change the tone quite a bit.
Yeah. So some of the orchestration here, it's
Just
mostly piano,
try to be more careful, alright?
less instruments, not like fully orchestrated full orchestra like in this scene here.
Oh, all right.
You have the full string section, you have all the woodwinds. Here we just have a few instruments.
Just try to be more careful, all right? Right.
And they're very watered down. And that takes us to the last scene. And then what do we have here, Sif?
Well, then we have a transition to somebody else looking at the sky at some other place.
The same sky, right?
Yeah, which is Morpheus. He gets the ending once again this time around. Gets the last word here. So we actually have revealed that he knows this white rabbit here along the way. Those two are speaking together in one way or another. So yeah, and then it's just exciting to see what will come next.
Yeah, so we saw the white rabbit from previous. There he is. From the first episode. And now he's back. Or she's back, we don't know yet. I don't know. Sif knows, I don't know.
I won't tell.
I don't have the score here. It's fairly simple music. I want to talk about more of the orchestration of the ending credits scene. But first, let's just go through this really quick. And there's fragments of that theme that I mentioned before. Just fragments, but it's there.
Decided to show yourself at last, I see.
And now I have more, now I'm using more experimental sort of pads and stuff like I had before. I constructed these pads for the Tales of Zale universe. Something like this, right? Something like that. It's a little bit more experimental, and then maybe something like this. These are synths and pads that I created, programmed, so, they're not like orchestral instruments or something I created electronically to represent this, because the bunny is kind of really out of this world, like glowing white rabbit, like he jumped into a plutonium pool or something and now he's like glowing all the time, right?
Yes, exactly.
And definitely something out of this world.
At last, I see. I can only wonder as to what business you have.
And he's also sharing that same theme. We don't know yet. It's mystery. But it looks like the intentions are not, that of someone evil.
Leading those two in here.
But we still don't know what's going on.
We have yet to see true evil.
Yeah. We're yet to see what it is. Upcoming episodes. I don't know when. Episode 3? I don't even want to talk about episode 3 right now.
The forest seems to have changed a lot since...
And I bring back his, what is it called? His theme, right? That you've already come to know and realize. It's a little bit different, but it's very similar.
The forest seems to have changed a lot since we cats last set foot in it, don't you think? Now it will just be interesting to see where it goes from here.
And it ends with a huge variation of that, that lighthearted, innocent theme of goodness that I made up, that I've been talking about throughout this whole video. And it ends with that. It doesn't end on a dark note like Tales of Zale episode 1 did. And I mean the ending of the whole thing.
What do we have here?
So now it ends like this.
Where it goes from here. Now it will just be interesting to see where it goes from here.
Definitely more of a positive note. And orchestration is, like I said, it's fairly simple. A few pads and just strings and just filling in the gaps to show this off. And here I really wanted to talk about the ending credits. There are no ending credits in the video that I have because they're just
nobody's getting credited.
For ending credits, I don't have to actually score that. I just have to create a certain mood. And we discussed that we wanted it to sound like a variation on the Tales of Zale theme. Let me see if I can pull that up. Really awesome stuff. I actually worked on this before I started working on Tales of Zale episode 2, and I think Sif just started literally drawing or doing concept art while I was making this theme. So we
Oh no, animation takes time. I was halfway through the animation there.
Oh, you were? Okay. So there was, but no, I wasn't even thinking about doing the score yet. I had no cut of the video or anything. So I took some time to work on that. So the theme is something, you know, adventurous and kind of epic, kind of light because of the instrumentation. Sorry. Something like that, right? So it's in a minor key, it's in C minor, and at the end, I did come up with an idea, you know, along the way making the theme, and Sif said that maybe we could use that for the ending credits. So it's a take on the theme, but in a major key. It's really cool because it's the same thing, but in a parallel key, it's the same, but it's totally different. So this is what it is. And then now it's this. Really cool. And so I ended up with this as a theme. I'm just going to go ahead and play it. This is the ending credits. No more video. So there's a lot going on. This actually is an extended thing. I had to shorten it for timing purposes. So we do have that theme here, this thing that I played. So, but it's fully orchestrated out. And then here we have fragments of melodies that existed in previous scores of Tales of Zale episode 1 and episode 2. And these kind of melodies, they're true to the soundtrack. They're consistent throughout the entire score. And this theme right here at the end is Elva or Eleanor, you know, they're worried kind of feeling. That's in here too. It's all mixed together. It's like a big mashup of everything coming together at the end. And then I bring back this mysterious bunny sound again. There's always some sort of sense of mystery going on with the ending score because you don't really know where it's going. So the end of Tales of Zale episode 1, it kind of has that similar feel. Just kind of light and ominous, and it represents something totally different. And that's just the way that, you know, I end this piece.
Wasn't there something about you calling that instrument the bunny guitar or a rabbit guitar or something at one point? What are you calling it?
Oh, I guess I was saying this is the bunny guitar, but it was made for the title screen. So when you see the giant logo, like I know it's just not like a font, and you just type something in and boom, it's like that. You know, you did some work to this, right? To this. The way the Tales of Zale logo looks.
Yeah, actually, that wasn't so much me as it was some kind people helping out, especially a guy named Jay Spivak, who did a lot about the logo.
Yeah. So, I mean, I see this, and then I came up with something like this. You know, it has a lot. It fits the logo the way it looks. So I created that sort of thing. And that represents, you know, key moments to the show. And the themes in this ending and like at the end here, they really just signify, they're just in character of the entire series. And it's not really, this at the end, I'm not actually referencing much It's similar to a key. I do a lot of this Lydian mode. And that's all that is. This Lydian mode is very common in film scoring, but the way I use Lydian for this, it has a very noticeable character that represents Tales of Zale. So that's what you hear at the end. Lots of orchestration going on here. We have, the Celesta, which are the bells you hear a lot. That sort of thing. And then we actually have the Glockenspiel, which is orchestra bells. Violins and all that. So this whole ending is really fully fleshed out. And it's a nice piece to listen to for the ending. So hopefully people stick around to listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, definitely. You should.
It just fades out, and that's the end of that. And everyone's really upset because now they have to wait a whole, I don't know how long, but
yeah.
So that pretty much does it for the music, Tales of Zale. Hopefully everyone got something out of that, understood sort of my film scoring process a little bit more, and those who are Tales of Zale fans or just a fan of Sif's work got kind of a good insight on how the music is done. And hopefully there's going to be more to come. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And I think hopefully I'm here until, maybe Tales of Zale 3D IMAX, I'm going to be here till the end. And
this is just the start where, right now me and Matthew are working through a Tales of Zale musical, a movie, right? A bunch of different stuff coming up, right? It's going to be great.
Yeah.
But thank you for watching, and thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's no problem. I'm really glad you were able to stick around through this and help out talking about it and giving people more insight and knowing, showing how working with a director, the creator, really is a huge process. It's not just me looking at the video, putting some music down. There's a huge collaborative process behind it. Yeah. And I thank you for joining me and showing people that.
Yes. Hats off.
It's been a pleasure talking with you with this commentary and working with you, and we'll see you guys soon.
Bye.